Hey, thank you for everyone who's watched our first couple of episodes, and also the video of us introducing ourselves. It was kind of some silly conversations, some silly questions about us, but I think it helps you get to know us a little bit better. We know Jason wants a ribeye steak, and I just hate stupid people, apparently. But and we appreciate that. And for anyone who's following us on YouTube, don't forget to check us out on Instagram as well. And so today's episode, it's not a typical full episode. It's just going to be kind of a recap. So we'll try to make this something that we do often. We'll talk about both sides of our story, and then we'll come back and we'll just touch base to see what did we learn from this, and maybe what did we hear from other people about these episodes? Because I don't know about you, Jason, but people have texted me about the episodes and what they've thought, and I think we
Very
could
cool.
get a pretty good conversation from there. So
Yeah,
I'll
I've got a
let you
little
kick
bit
it
of,
off. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say I've got a little bit of in-person feedback. It's been cool to hear people saying that they're listening. That's always fun. And a couple comments on YouTube, and I've seen we've had some comments on Instagram, so that's been really fun. So thank you to everybody who's given us feedback. But as far as the recap episode, I really just want to talk about what you thought stood out the most to you about even the two episodes combined, and then what I think stood out the most to me. And so, really, the main thing for me looking back on me hearing your story in episode one and then you listening to my story in episode two, it just hit me that we never really know what people are going through. And we don't.
Sure,
People,
sure.
people are living their lives. They're doing what they do. They're with their family, their friends, their relationships, or they're going out. You see only a little bit of what's actually happening in their lives. And especially now with social media, you really only see what they want you to see. So it was interesting back in our time. We didn't really have social media at that time, but just with being friends and having conversation and us being out together, you saw my life one way because it's only what you saw. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. But when you pull back the curtain on people's lives, you really see that there's some things that are going on that you have no idea about. And oftentimes we misjudge the book by its cover and by what we see. So I'm looking at your life and I'm like, man, that dude's got a house. He's got this nice car. I remember you had a Cooper Mini at one time. I was like, damn, that dude's rolling, right? Like he's got this really nice car. I mean, again, just from the outside looking in, Jose's got this stuff. He's got these things, right? For you, it was the house, the car, the LAN, the local area network, the game parties, the people spending the night, all that stuff. And so me looking at your life, it was like, I thought you were one way and I thought your life was one way. And just listening to your story, it was not even anything that I understood in the least.
No, no. I mean, I could say the same thing about you. You were the womanizer, the fashionista, as we saw. I mean, you're the one with and I'm sorry, if Kim listens to this, but clearly had all the ladies coming over all the time. You were buying bottles for everybody everywhere
Oh
you
my
went.
God, you're
No.
embellishing now.
You're hitting the Ross up every day, because you need to look extra special
That I did.
for
That
the
I did.
ladies. And
Yeah.
me sitting at home looking at you, being like, man, and for people who don't know, I was like, Jason was very shy in high school, and I used to have to take him out and push him to talk to girls. But clearly, I did a great job because after that, he became the master, and I sat on the
You
sidelines and
you
watched him.
created a monster, bro. You created a
That's
monster.
clearly what happened. So, but no, you're right. I think in all seriousness now, I think you're right. I think it's easy to look at people's lives and figure things out. But I mean, let's be honest. We were doing that before it was a thing. And now, I mean, isn't that essentially what social media is? Social media is a peek into someone's life, and it's probably just the good stuff. And, everybody can showcase the good stuff. And I think we were doing that before it was modernized, right? So modernization of viewing people's perspectives and like you said, judging books by their cover and not the content is different. I
Yeah.
will say one time I was I won't put the person out. I won't put their
Mhm.
name out there, but
Sure.
one time I heard there was this one person I hadn't talked to in a long time, but I seen and this is a long time ago because I still had social media at the time, or I think it was shortly after my divorce I had got back on social media because hey, I got divorced, and you're trying to make social connections again, and social media makes it so easy, and that's one of the positives, right? It helps people stay in touch. And I remember seeing someone I knew on there all the time and thinking, man, their life looks so great. And I was going through a divorce, so it probably even felt better than it was. And then I remember reaching out to that person and asking, like, hey, man, you seem to be doing great and so forth. And I kid you not, I remember the reply and it hit me like a bag of rocks. They were like, don't believe what you see online. This is coming from the person who is posting these things. And
Right.
so I remember I was in shock, kind of thinking, "Wow, I guess the saying is true, right?" And so that just kind of brings up your point. I was judging the book by its cover because I'm not allowed to read the pages of that book because that's what social media is. It's just the covers of people's lives. It's not the really or another way to put it, and you tell me what you think. I mean, it's like when you watch a movie trailer. The movie trailer always looks better, and sometimes it's better than the movie
Yeah.
itself. And
And
I think that's
sometimes the
how we can look
trailer,
at it.
the only pushback is sometimes the trailer really just you've seen the whole movie if you've seen the trailer.
Sure, sure. You've gotten the best highlights of it, the
Yeah,
funniest jokes.
sometimes people's sometimes it's just as shallow as it puts off. But yeah, I hear you, man. It's like it's really easy to people they never or they don't never, but it's rare that you see the behind the scenes struggles. It's always the win. It's like you you see the you see sports teams on the field and they win games, but you don't watch all the practices, you don't see all the recovery, you don't see all the things. And so yeah, it's I think that's the cliche scenario with social media is that people really only show you what they want you to see. But in real life, people only tell you what they want you to know most of the time as well. And so it's like we're hanging out in our 20s and I'm coming over. I'm like, oh, you got this house. This is cool. Like, this is badass. You're doing really well for yourself. You're not just the first thing out of your mouth isn't, well, bro, I'm 50K in the hole.
Sure, sure.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm going and doing my thing, but I'm not like I almost got my car repossessed last month. This is in my 20s, right?
Sure.
Almost got my car repossessed. At one point, I had no idea. Dude, I made a phone call. So I remember I was so excited. It was my first car that I ever. And this is how much I didn't know about making purchases. Is I went and I thought I was buying a 2003 Volkswagen GTI, right? It was manual speed, had a little turbo engine in
I remember
it.
the car.
Man,
I
I love
remember the
that
car.
car so much. I still want one to this day. Like I will have another GTI, but
Okay.
I thought I was buying that car, and it turns out that I had it on a lease with an option to buy. So next thing you know, I don't know what entails a lease or what all entails, the details behind that. So next thing you know, I'm over on my mileage when I turn it in. I'm on the hook for body work. Like it's crazy, bro. So I had no clue. But the thing is, I'm zipping around this little car, but you don't know that it's almost, what do you call it? Repoed, because I called to make my payment because I'm like 3 months behind. And they're like, I'm so glad you called today. And I'm like, why is that? They're like, because we were about to put out a repo on your car. I'm like, holy shit. So waiting tables, it's like I'm spending my money as soon as it comes in, and I'm struggling to make my payments on my car. I'm struggling to make payments on my credit cards. Like I'm in credit card debt. I've got stuff that's already in collection. So, I mean, that was my life, but I'm out here doing my thing like it's no big deal. And a lot of people live their lives. They just keep doing the things that they want to do that make them happy, maybe even that make them forget about the major debt that they're in. So the overconsumption has caused a certain level of anxiety and maybe even a little depression, but then now they're in this endless loop of consuming to mitigate the depression and forget about the debt. So you just get caught in this like crazy ass spiral. So yeah, it's not like we're hanging out and then I'm just dropping all this shit on you. Like, yeah, bro, I keep spending money on credit cards. I'm in all this debt. So it's like, even though we didn't have a social media, I'm not really giving you behind the scene details on everything that's happening in my life.
No, that's true. And, I mean, I think we were doing the same thing people do online, except they do it with food and, vacations. I mean, I was driving. I mean, I can see why you thought maybe my life was better because I
Hmm.
was driving. I had a Mercedes. I had a C230 Mercedes compressor.
Hmm.
I love that little white car.
I
And then
never saw that one. Did
yeah,
I?
and I
I
had
don't
a
think I
two
did.
four. I had a before that. I had a blue C240 Mercedes, and so
Okay.
if you looked at my life from the outside, it probably looked better. But yeah, you're right. I was in debt and struggling and so forth. So it wasn't the best life, but I think we were doing what everybody does and just kind of the nature of things. And so, I mean, long story short, right? We don't need to kind of dive into more mistakes. I mean, clearly we made
Sure.
tons of mistakes in our 20s,
Mm-hmm.
financial mistakes. And maybe we'll do an episode about what we did in our 30s, not mistakes, but what are the good things we did, coming out
Yeah.
from 20s. I
Yeah,
think,
we definitely need to we need to talk about the turnaround. Like
sure, sure.
what did we finally realize? What were some of the steps we took? Because yeah, you can talk about the issues all day long, but I think there's some people out there who would say, yeah, I did what you did and I'm still struggling. What do I do? And so we for sure should pull out an episode where it's like, hey, this is not financial advice, but here are some of the things that we did in order to start to dig ourselves out of a hole.
No, no, and I think also, I mean, you know what I think people should get out of this episode, and we talked about this last time. We want to be honest. I mean, that's why we call this the honest playbook. It's really just kind of putting out the ugly side of the stuff. So this is the pages of the book. We don't want to let people see the covers of our lives. We want them to see the
Mhm.
pages.
Sure.
Because you know what, in life, there's always going to be downsides, and for any 20-year-olds, if we get, I don't even know what our target audience is at this point, but if we had any
We'll figure it
20
out.
year olds, or even if you're in your 30s feeling like, hey, life isn't going where you want it to go, I just want you guys to understand that it's never too late to turn around and make things change. And, I mean, there's tons of stories I can tell you about myself where I was not doing nothing. Because, I mean, if you look at my life now, and I think Jason does this to me sometimes, I mean, when he came to me about this podcast, he wanted to make this about all the successful things I've done. But I sat here and I had to tell him like you've done things well, I've done things well, but you know what? That wasn't always the case, and so that's why we kind of decided to change the format of this and talk about the ugly side of things because everybody talks about the good shit they do and everybody loves to brag like myself included, so I'm not going to put myself out there, but
You know, we could just be the train wreck podcast. We just talk about all the. It's like it's so you can't look away. You're like, oh, those guys. Oh man, that was so stupid. That
uh-oh.
was such a
And
bad
now we're going to
decision.
talk about my divorce and all the other stuff
Oh
I
my
did wrong.
gosh.
Yeah. She's not listening, but it's okay. I can
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
And if she
Yeah,
is, well, hello, how you doing? You're out
sure.
there.
Yeah, surely you did nothing wrong in that divorce, Jose. It was,
Nope.
yeah.
Hey, it was. Hold on, let me take a sip of my beer. It was not my fault. Okay,
Uh,
so enough of that. But no, you're right. Look, we'll recap this. Anyone listening, here's my point of view, and I'll let Jason kind of talk on his end. Just remember, everybody makes mistakes. We just talked about one small aspect of our lives, and it was financial mistakes. And I don't even think we hit on every financial mistakes. We're only keeping these episodes to about 30 minutes. If you guys want to hear more about some financial mistakes we've made in our 20s or even in our 30s, leave that in the comments. We might even have to put a little Cash App or GoFundMe page for Jason's GTI. So I don't know, Jason, where do you put the link? So, I'll
bro,
point
if
everywhere.
we
Put the
could,
link somewhere.
yeah, if we could crowdfund a GTI, shoot, that'd be worth it.
All right, so we'll work on that. We'll put that as a goal. I'll put that on the gram. But no, in all seriousness, you know what? It's never too late to fix things. I think we both, Jason and myself, have found our successes in lives, and our mistakes didn't define who we were. And I want people to understand that no matter how old you are and no matter how young you are, your mistakes are not going to define you. It's what you do with those mistakes and how you overcome them that really define who you are. Because I've fucked up many times. I've even now I still continue to fuck up. I think I mentioned this in one of the episodes. I am in the middle of a fuck up, and I am working through this. And it's not always pretty to sit here and to own up to your mistakes. But I think that if you can work through it and be patient enough, something will come from it. I'm not saying and guaranteeing that everything goes the way you want it to go, but you won't be, your mistake will become a mistake and it'll become just like anything else. It'll be a history point in your life. And, you just have to overcome that piece. And I think we've mentioned to everyone, and I think I said this myself in the episode, was like, hey, success will come and it will go, but mistakes will also come and go. And so as long as you continue to move forward, you'll be fine. But it's not always going to be pretty. What do you think?
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I think I'll just continue on with that statement. It's not always going to be pretty, and life really is seasons. So cue some more cliches, but there are ups and downs, and there are wins and losses, and there are successes and failures. And so I can look back at my life, and even after my 20s, starting to make some really good financial decisions, I still found myself in making some of the same mistakes that I made in my 20s. It's like, oh, here we go with the credit card debt again, or whatever it is, or trying to fund a lifestyle that I want to have, and not really thinking about the true cost of what it's going to take in order for me to live that lifestyle, that kind of thing. And so going through life, you might learn lessons, and you still might mess up again. But the thing is, it's never too late to slow down, take a look, reassess, and say, okay, I'm back in the same patterns. I'm doing the same things over and over again. What did I do before to get myself out of this hole? Okay, let's start digging. And I think exactly that. It's never too late to start digging. It's never too late to look in the mirror, to look at the situation and figure out just how bad it is. Put a number, put a metric to the problem. Whether it's on a scale of 1 to 10, like how shitty is this situation out of 10? Yeah, it's like a 9. Okay, well, now right? You've got to have the diagnosis in order to have the prognosis. The doctor has to tell you you have cancer in order for you to start the cancer treatment and to go into remission. So it's the same thing with issues in life. You've really just got to get to a point to where you're figuring out, okay, what's the next step? Not getting into a downward spiral of this is so terrible it's never going to change, that kind of thing. So I think as far as a future episode, yeah, I'd love to talk about some of the ways that we did that, where it's like, okay, look at the issue, start to dig yourself out of a hole. And I want to end on this. It's rare to look into my past and find a time where I dug myself out of these holes alone. It was always going to a friend, maybe a girlfriend, or my mom, my dad, right? Calling a parent and saying, man, I really screwed up. And just getting honest with people, right? The honest playbook, getting truly honest and just admitting the failure. And then with the admission of the failure, then you can say, okay, I need help. What do I do? And if you're really at the point to where you're ready to move forward, it would be wise to then take advice from somebody who maybe has accomplished what you want to accomplish, instead of having an ego and still thinking I can do this alone, because oftentimes you might not be able to do it alone. So that's my story. Jose, I know you're a little more driven, and so maybe you've done some things alone, but for me, it really helped to admit some of this stuff to people and get a plan and then just execute the plan.
No, no. I'll finish off a final thought on that, and since you called me out directly, you're right. I've done a lot of things alone, and I've been able to accomplish a lot of things alone. I will say though, it's not always the best approach. Now that I've done it a few times, I have
Sure.
dug myself out alone. But but if I'm honest with myself, I don't think it's ever alone. I think it's just minimal assistance where you're not really truly opening up. People see that you're hurting, and you'll see people come and help, and they'll try that. But for the most part, I say 90% of things I've tried to dig myself out. But if I look back, I should have asked for help. I think it would have been
Mm,
easier. I think it would have been a
sure.
better solution, or I think I just would have been able to handle it slightly better.
Yeah.
And I'll say this from experience because recently, some of my problems recently have been type of problems where I haven't been able to do it alone. And I think that that's a very humbling experience to sit here and say, like, I've had to reach out, and I've reached out to friends, to family, and that is a different type of way of doing things. And I think that if you're in a place where you're trying to do it by yourself and you feel like you just cannot overcome that problem or whatever is going on, I think that's when you need to admit to yourself it's time to reach out to someone, because I think people who care want to be there for you, and it should be an honor to be able to be there for someone. And I think that's something that you may not understand, that when you reach out to a friend and they want to help, they're doing it because they want to. And,
Right.
and I think that's something that we need to appreciate. And I believe, and just to kind of link this back to our social media conversation, I think we've made a culture where people believe you're there if you're on social media, and like, I follow you, you follow me. Hey, we're fucking buddies. And I'm like, that's at least the way I came up and the way I see things, even to this day, that's not a friend. You follow me on the social media, that's not a friend. And, a friend is someone who picks up the phone, calls you on a random fucking day for no fucking reason, and is like, hey, you good? What you doing? That's a friend. That's like a friend who likes your fucking steak ribeye with the good dirty potatoes. It feels like a friend, but that's just my thought. And, you guys can leave comments or send me hate emails, or if I get hate emails, I'll feel popular. So again, go ahead and send me some hate emails.
Yeah, I was about to ask you if you feel different about. I mean, you're not really on social media, but like DMs, a lot of people do utilize direct messaging or private messaging to reach out to people. And I think if you don't have somebody's phone number and you reconnect with somebody online, hit them up and send them a personal message like, hey, you doing a ride? Saw you on social media, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And if you're in the same city, yeah, you can take it a step further and grab lunch, do whatever it is. But, I think social media is a tool, a communication tool. And so, yeah, if it's just like you're seeing people's stuff online and you know a little bit about their life, but you don't talk to them, you're not really friends. You just know about some of the things that they want you to know anyway. So there's definitely more opportunity for deeper connection personally, beyond the screen, for sure.
Sure. And I never get to say this, so let me say this. If you guys want to slide into the DMs of the Honest Playbook, feel free to slide into my DMs. It's okay. I never got to say that, so I get to say it now.
And just be sure that if you are female, that you only message Jose in his DMs. Please leave all your comments for me, so my wife can see them and know how lucky she is to have me. And
that's all right.
Yeah. So
I love the disclaimer. I don't think Kim watches our show, but if she does,
yeah, she does.
Kim, he's trying very hard. But yes, slide into the DMs. Give us feedback. Give us show ideas. I think show ideas would be great. We're probably not that popular yet. I mean, this is episode, this is just a recap. It's not even a full episode.
Yeah.
So, but no, we'd love to hear from you guys. But yeah, I definitely think we could, we'll definitely have to have a whole full episode on social media and how that works. And, perspective from some older gentlemen here. But I think it's good. I think this recap has been great.
Sure.
I hope everybody got the most out of the first 2 episodes. If you haven't watched them, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify or Instagram. It's all at The Honest Playbook, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. So anything less you want to say, Jason, before we let them go?
Yeah, I think it's at Honest Playbook.
Yes,
we don't have it. Yeah. So, so when I did so we also have a TikTok.
Oh,
yeah,
Jason's going to be doing dances on the TikTok. So if you have dances you want him to do, send them me the DMs there.
We're just pushing out the reels that we've been putting on Instagram, going out to TikTok as well, to try and reach a different audience. So yeah,
look at that. We're going big. We're going global now.